April 15th, 2020 was a bad day for professional wrestling because a bunch of WWE wrestlers did get released. And given the time frame, it just didn't feel right. And I know they're a business, they can do whatever they want, and these things are always going to happen. But of course, we were in the midst of a global pandemic. And just before this, WWE had released their reports and they were doing record business. So once again, something didn't add up. Somehow we are half a decade removed from then though, which is absolutely terrifying. And as we do get to the 5-year anniversary of that fateful day, I thought it'd be nice to sit down and go through all these wrestlers and figure out what they're doing right now. I do want to point out we're not going to talk about the people that were active in the ring, because of course a bunch of other people got released as well. But more power to them. I hope they're doing all right. Number 21, the NXT recruits. So I do have a list here because the likes of Alexander Yaksix, MJ Jenkins, Dorian Mack, Mars One, Edgar Lopez, Faisal Kurdi, Hassan Al-Dagal, Marcos Gomez, Muhammad Fahim, Omari Palmer, and Yifeng/Rocky, probably got that wrong, please do forgive me, were all performance recruits. Then they did get released. Now, most of these decided that pro wrestling wasn't for them, although maybe that wasn't the case because, again, it was the time of COVID and there wasn't really a lot of places you could go and work. Even training was next to impossible, although there were a couple of names I want to talk about, because MJ Perkins actually did have one match in AEW. I don't really know what he did. But Palmer is the bigger one. Now, actually, when you go back through the history books, it doesn't seem like he was released, but he did disappear for 12 months when he came back as Odyssey Jones. He was down at NXT for years and years when just last year, he got called up to the main roster. Well, if I were you, I would go Google the rest, because who knows what's going on with that case at the moment. It is super duper delicate and sensitive. But yeah, as for the rest of them, I just hope they landed on their feet. Number 20, Tino Sabaletti. Well, after Tino got his papers, he did get to work, because by July 2020, he was in AEW appearing on Dark. He was teaming with Brady Pierce to take on the Best Friends, so I would presume this was some kind of tryout. And if it was, it didn't go anywhere. This then got a little bit out of hand because Chris Jericho accused Sabaletti of being some sort of spy, although Tino also came out and said, "I'm not no spy, what are you talking about?" So I don't know. It was all situated around the fact that the word that Eric Bischoff was going to be on an episode of Dynamite did get out there. And today you probably know Sabaletti best as the husband of Mandy Rose. He did get rehired by WWE a few months after this. Then he was gone in 2021. I don't know. Number 19, Cassius Ohno, or Chris Hero, whatever you want. It doesn't matter because whatever name you are going to go with, this guy was just so good at professional wrestling. And maybe that's one of the reasons he didn't actually last at NXT and did get released. I don't want to say anything bad about that system because quite clearly it can produce some superstars. But the way that Chris Hero's brains work, I think you would just have to lean on that and say, you know what, Chris, do whatever you want. Because when you broke it right down, that guy was just built different. Although after he was released in 2020, we didn't see him for years. I guess he deserved a little bit of a break. He came back in 2023 when he did sign for AEW as a producer or an agent or a coach, whatever word you want to use. And again, I keep going on about this. Few people get wrestling as much as him. It's the perfect role. So to this day, I still hope he does have one last match because there's nothing like a Chris Hero fight. But either way, I'm going to say this a lot through this video, so please do forgive me, as long as he's happy. Number 18, Ty Mello, Cesar Bononi, and Nick Comoroto. That's right! You probably know this trio mostly from AEW, because when they did get released from WWE in 2020, they found their way across. They barely made it to NXT TV before they did get released, and of course, Ty Mello is the name you probably know the most. She was on AEW for ages, when she did go away to have a baby. Now it sounds like she's about to come back. She's also married to Sammy Guevara, and it's Cesar where I don't have much information on. It kind of sounds like he could be signed to AEW, but we have not seen him on TV in years, and he is working the independents. As for Nick, well, he is getting over a serious injury at the moment, so fingers crossed he is back soon. And he also once insulted me for being bald. It's fair. Number 17, Deonna Purrazzo. He seems mad now, given what she went on to do afterwards, but yes, back in this time period, Deonna Purrazzo was in the developmental system. It feels like a massive error that she was released, because of course she went to TNA, she became a mainstay of the Knockouts division, becoming the champion, when she eventually signed for AEW, and ever since then she has done okay, but she's another one, just hasn't featured on TV enough. To be fair, she is relatively active on Collision, but she just needs a proper feud. But there were some rumblings recently, so let's hope we see her soon. Number 16, Serena Deeb. When Serena Deeb signed her Performance Center deal in 2018 as a coach, it felt like a job for life. She could essentially become the head leader of the female talent there. and she's so damn good she could just go on and on and on and on. Then she got released. Steve was an absolute veteran at this point though, and more than knew what she was doing. So of course AEW rang her up and said, "Oh hi, we can use you." She jumped across. That was around September time, and ever since then, she has been more of a transitional wrestler, just taking one sports entertainer and moving them on to the next. But does she ever have a bad match? No, she does not. Number 15, Kurt Hawkins. Or Brian Myers, and it's important to note the name change here, because it was Brian Myers that went back to TNA. Honestly, over the last few years, he has done great. Now, there was a little bit of a shame, because of course that WrestleMania 35, him and best friend Zack Ryder did win the tag team championships, which was a dream. And soon after this, they were let go. Since July 2020, though, Brian has been so damn integral to TNA, as I've already said, but he just continues to work with all the young talent and ensure they get more over. This is exactly the kind of guy you want on your roster. So, honestly, talk about bouncing back. This is what can be done. Number 14, EC3. This will be studied forever, because EC3 was in the developmental system, he got let go, did great, then he got brought back, and when he was called up to the main roster, Vince McMahon didn't let him talk. I mean, that's his whole thing. Now, it wasn't the same when he was in NXT Round 2. This was during a period where there were no conversations between developmental and the main roster. So when he did get promoted, for lack of a better term, nobody knew what they were doing. It meant he got caught up in the releases, and of course he went on to start the Control Your Narrative promotion, which was really quite weird. Ever since then, he's sort of been smashing it in NWA and OVW. He has become the world champion in both of those companies too. And it does feel like he could have one last major run in a promotion. But I don't have a magic wand, so we'll have to wait and see. I have said that a lot. Number 13, Leo Rush. Now, do not get it twisted. When Leo Rush was the manager of Bobby Lashley, somehow we stumbled across some magic. Not that part when he kept making Bob show us his ass. It's a different video. I suppose eventually Vince McMahon got bored of this though, so he was released. And he went to AEW quite soon after. When he left there too, once again, there were some rumors that maybe he fell out with Tony Khan. Uh-oh. But that can't be the case, or if it was, they got over it because he then went back to AEW. And ever since then, he's mostly been in the tag team scene. But this Leo Rush, man, if you want to be entertained by wrestling, he will never let you down. Number 12, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So as of me talking to you, they have just been released again. One day their journeys have to be studied. Now, of course, they were brought in 2016 alongside AJ Styles and told, well, you'll be here forever. And then, yes, they got released in April 2020. The brothers were super successful after this because they went to TNA, they went to AEW, and they went all the way back to Japan. When, yes, we've already talked about it, they did get re-signed with WWE because they just totally understand the job. It's why this time around, too, I don't think we need to worry about either of them. They should write a book on this. They know how to get paid. Number 11, Drake Maverick. So this is one of the first things that come to a fan's mind when you do think about this run of releases, because as soon as he had been let go, Drake Maverick cut that amazing promo on social media where he just opened up his heart. Good grief, it was emotional. So much so, WWE went and hired him back. It was just so dumb because in 2020, they showed the former rock star spud the door again. It's a bit like, I don't think you should have done that. Amazingly, the story continues going this way, because once again, soon afterwards, he was brought back to WWE, where he still is, working behind the scenes, doing all the storylines and other such producer stuff. And if we go by the rumblings on the internet, he is doing a damn good job. And that's the kind of stuff you love to hear. Finally found his feet. Number 10, Eric Young. So between 2016 and 2023, Eric Young worked for WWE twice. And of course, during his first run, he had that Sanity group. It was pretty damn good. It's why fans were excited when he did get hired back. It's like, oh man, maybe we can now do something properly with him on the main roster. And something most definitely happened. I mean, you can go talk to Eric Young about this. He has talked about it in many an interview. He just didn't want to work with Vince McMahon. So when it was time for releases, kind of sounds like he was happy to go. As ever though, he went back to TNA and he found tremendous success. At this point, kind of feels like he's set for life. At 9, Heath Slater. Heath Slater had such a good run in WWE. Most people just assumed he'd be there forever. I mean, he had the 3MB stuff, that storyline with his kids, and that awesome angle where legends from the past would turn up, and they just whoop his ass. It was very entertaining. For whatever reason though, his time did come up in April 2020, although he did sign with TNA pretty quickly, and he had a decent go at that too. I mean, he was there for 3 years. These days, it feels like Slater picks and chooses independent promotions, but it wouldn't be surprised me if he did turn back up in an AEW or TNA or a WWE tomorrow. I mean, maybe I'm just guessing here. But once again, the dude knows what he is doing. He could easily fit back in like a glove. Number 8, Aiden English. Or Matthew Raybolt today. It's super nice to talk about Matthew on a video like this, because I consider him now to be one of my friends. He is a super good dude. Sadly for Aiden English, though, he got caught up in all this Rusev Day nonsense, as did everybody in the day of Rusev, because Vince McMahon totally murked that, so when it was time for April 2020, well, his name got on the list, then it shouldn't have done. Soon after, though, Matthew went to TNA, where he became a commentator with Tom Hannafin. Honestly, if you haven't watched an Impact for a while or a pay-per-view, you should check these two out. They are a very good team. He also still steps in the ring here and there too, so that's another guy. Doesn't feel like his story is finished. We must watch this space. 7, Eric Rowan, who of course, as I'm talking to you, is back with WWE. So it goes to show never say never, although when Eric did get released in April 2020, it came off the back of that story where he had a spider and Drew McIntyre squished it. Honestly, there was a time when WWE was really bad. The next major occasion we saw him was in AEW, although it was quite tragic because it was that AEW tribute show with Brody Lee. You can understand that one. Him and Luke Harper teamed for ages. Of course, today he has returned with the Wyatt Six, which also kind of ties into the tragic passing of Bray Wyatt. So yeah, this may sound a little bit weird, but if anybody does deserve a job, or who I'm happy for, it's Eric Rowan. Number 6, the Colognes. So this was a recent unexpected treat, because the Colognes interrupted a TNA concert with Joe Hendry, and they had a match with the Hardys. If you had that on your bingo card for 2025, you smashing it. The Colognes also had all the gimmicks in WWE too, including as the Shining Stars, when Primo and Epico, as they were known, would go, oh man, you should go to Puerto Rico. I was like, this is great. I'm watching a travel advert here, but are you ever going to wrestle? And sometimes they did, and sometimes they did not. So while it wasn't their fault at all, it wasn't a massive surprise when they got on this release list either, just because they had been given such a bad gimmick. And that's when wrestling sucks. You go out there and do the best with the stories you are given, but sometimes bad is just bad. Number 5, Sarah Logan. So technically, I think she is still with WWE now, and she's on maternity leave. That's nice. Who would get mad at it? I think the last time we saw her on TV was early 2024, so I guess she could be back with the War Raiders at any time, but she was also somebody else that did get released in April 2020, when we had the big old power switcheroo, and I suppose Triple H hired her back. That was November 2022, although it was still a surprise when she did pop up in the Royal Rumble, just because she wasn't used that much. We'll have to wait and see with this one. I can't really figure it out. Number 4, Mike and Maria Kanellis. So there's a horrible story that when they did get let go, WWE on the phone to Maria told her the news and said, oh, by the way, can you pass the phone to Mike? And if that is true, well, just never do that again. When they both returned to WWE as well, they were in that mad storyline, or that weird love affair thingamajig. Although saying that, while it was pretty dire, it was better than what they got given next, which was nothing. They vanished from TV. That's likely why they did get released in April 2020, because they weren't being used, or they did go to AEW. Of course, Mike Bennett is still part of the Undisputed Kingdom, whereas Maria got released in January 2025. Number 3, Zack Ryder. I mean, he took his release and became the king of the indies. Matt Cardona, as he is now known, well, he went out there and totally killed it. I mean, few have ever thrived this much following a WWE release, because Matt has worked AEW, TNA, NWA, GCW, and basically any other 3-letter promotion you could think of. He also became the king of the deathmatch, and while there are always rumors he could go back to a major promotion, nothing has transpired as yet, but I think eventually one of these years it is going to happen, because again, much like a Drew McIntyre, he is a template. He has totally recreated himself. Number 2, No Way Jose. Do not get it confused. When No Way Jose was called up in 2018 from NXT, people were excited about this. We all just thought we were going to have a barrel of laughs. No, I don't think Vince McMahon understood it, and yep, April 2020. He soon returned to being Levi Valenzuela, and he did have a short stint in TNA, and he had that one match in AEW, I believe, in October. And I'm not sure what he's done since. If you do go into the records, he hasn't had an independent match since 2024. So who knows if he is done or if he is taking some time out. But that gimmick, man, I know he just used to dance, but it really tickled me. Number 1, Rusev. This one crushed me. I mean, the irony. But I am a huge Rusev fan, as we've already hinted at. He just got totally ruined by bad booking. His last storyline being that stuff with him, Liv Morgan, Lana, and Bobby Lashley. I mean, I still can't get over it. When you read some of the stories about it, My gosh, it's terrible. It just felt like he'd been in a bad position ever since we did get rid of Rusev Day, which is why when he did get released a few months later, he did indeed sign with AEW when everybody was excited. For some reason though, it never worked out, unless I got my maths wrong. In the few years he was with All Elite Wrestling, he wrestled less than 40 matches. By the time you hear this though, there are plenty of rumors that he could be back in WWE, and I certainly will enjoy that. Again, I just miss him. We all have our favorites. And as of late, he has not done much. So of course, I just wish them all well and hope everybody is doing okay, because nobody wants to lose their job. If you are one of these people that goes on the internet and says so-and-so should be fired, I want you to know you're a sociopath. That's not nice. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, throw me a comment, click the video on the screen, and hopefully I will see you soon.